Hey everyone, welcome back to the latest GoSkills Excel Challenge solution. How close did you get to solving it? Well, we've got Microsoft trainer Deborah Ashby ready to share her solution. Check it out right now.
So let's walk through my solution to this challenge. Now currently we have some basic data in the spreadsheet. We have the months of the year and the actual sales achieved. And in cell C2 we have the sales target for each month. So we want to insert a clustered column chart that shows the actual sales, but also if they've met the sales target or if they haven't. So to do this, we need to add in a few more columns and perform some calculations. So let's start by adding the columns. So we're going to have a column, sales target met. We're going to have one for sales target not met. And then we're going to have a column that's just going to show the sales target. Now you might be thinking, why are you adding a sales target column when we already have the sales target up here? Well, it's because we need this to be a series in our chart. So it's going to be easier for us to do it if we have the data actually within the data that we're using in the chart. Now I'm going to use my format painter just to apply some formatting to these headings, and then I'm going to create the chart. So let's go Control A, up to Insert, and we're going to choose 2D clustered column chart. Now currently this chart isn't displaying too much, it's just showing the actual sales. We don't have any data for anything else that we have listed in this legend. So let's change that. Let's go back to our table and we need to work out if this value in column C has met the sales target. So to do this, we're going to use an if statement. So we're going to say if the actual sales are greater than or equal to the sales target, and we need to press F4 to lock this because we are going to copy this formula down. Now, if the result of that logical test is true, so if sales have met or exceeded the sales target, we just want to output the sales value into the cell. If it's false, then we want a blank cell. Let's close the bracket, Control Enter to stay in the same cell, double click to copy down. And I'm just going to apply comma separator formatting to make everything look the same. So we should find that where we have a blank, that means that the actual sales were less than $2,000, which they seem to be. Now we're going to do the same in column E, but basically the reverse of this. So we're going to say if the actual sales, this time if they're less than the sales target, F4 to lock. If that's true, we're going to output the actual sales value. If it's false, we're going to have a blank. Control Enter and double click to copy down. And then in the final column, we're just going to link to the sales target cell. So we're going to say equals C2, F4 to lock, Control Enter, and then we can double click to copy that down so that it now appears as a series in the chart. And you can see here the yellow series, that is the sales target. Now, if we take a look at this chart, we don't actually need the actual sales, the blue bar, included in this chart, because those values are being represented in the sales target met column and the sales target not met. Those are the same values. So I'm going to adjust my chart selection to exclude the actual sales, which makes the chart a little bit neater. Now, the next thing to do is deal with the sales target. Now, currently the sales target is being represented with a grey bar, but we want this to be a line that runs across the months. So what we can do here is select, right click, change series chart type. And what we want to do here is instead of having the sales target represented as a column, we want it represented as a line. Click on OK, and our chart is starting to take shape. The final thing to do is just really some chart formatting. So I'm going to run through with you what I did. So let's click on the plus and I'm going to move the legend to the top. I'm going to click on the bars. Let's right click and format the data series. And I'm going to change the gap width. Let's move that all the way down. And let's move the series overlap up, which in this case will just make those bars a bit wider. I'm going to click on the blue bars. Let's change the formatting. So I'm going to go shape fill. Let's keep those on blue. Let's change the orange ones to yellow. and we're going to remove the outline. Let's make sure we do the same on this one as well. Let's give our chart a title, and I'm just going to change the font to, let's go for Lato Black. And the final piece of formatting I'm going to do here is let's change the color of the target line so it stands out a little bit more. So we're going to change the color. Let's change it to green. I'm going to make it slightly narrower, and I'm going to add an arrow on the end and an arrow on the other end. So now what we should find is that when we change the sales target in cell C2, everything updates as we would expect. Now, the final little thing I mentioned as an additional test was to get this set up so that if you were to hide these columns, it doesn't affect the data in the chart. Because currently, if I don't want these columns to show and I right click and I just hide them, the data is going to disappear from the chart. So how can we get around this? Let's just unhide those. If you work this out, then well done to you. If we right click and go into select data, notice at the bottom here we have hidden and empty cells. And if we go into there, we can say show data in hidden rows and columns. So when we select that option, it means that we can now safely hide these columns, and the chart data is going to remain intact. The final thing I did was just turn off grid lines to give everything a cleaner look, and that gives us a conditional chart that works perfectly. So that is how we solved this challenge. Tell us what you think about our solution to this challenge by commenting below or joining the conversation on our Slack channel. That's it for now. I will see you next time.
So there it is. Did you get the same results? Did you use the same approach? Or did you try something different? We'd like to know. Share your take on the challenge in the comments below or join us for more discussion in our Slack channel. Link in the description. Thanks for participating, and make sure to subscribe to this channel to get an alert when the next challenge is released. We'll see you then.